Aotearoa. Welcome to Tuesday's Economy Watch, where we follow the economic events and trends that affect Aotearoa. I'm David Chaston, and this is the international edition from interest.co.nz. And today we lead with news. US Treasury yields are rising on growing American recession fears that may prompt investors to question the safety of US Treasuries as a haven asset. The risk premium jumped after the weekend to think about last week's yield falls. But Wall Street equities have stopped falling. They're not rising either, as investors ponder what to do. But last week's sell-off is baked in. They rose after reports of a tariff pause, but fell when this was denied. Then Trump threatened China with 50% tariffs because they retaliated. Gloom returned. And EU ministers are meeting to coordinate their response. A 25% retaliatory tariffs are likely on some goods. Everyone, except Trump and his acolytes, can see that this mob boss theatre will just produce a combination of recession and inflation. And the US won't be immune. The situation is an urgent problem for policymakers worldwide, including central banks. Ours meets tomorrow, but because this is a fast-developing situation, maybe it is too soon to expect a comprehensive response. It is a situation that will play out over years, but we'll still want to see our fiscal and monetary policymakers working to contain the impending fallout as best they can. In Canada, their central bank's Business Outlook survey is reporting widespread concern. Business conditions have deteriorated due to the trade conflict with the United States. Sales outlooks have softened, particularly for exporters. Firms have reported having sufficient capacity, and many are delaying investment and hiring decisions amid uncertainty. Firms expect the widespread tariffs will raise costs and lead to higher selling prices. In this context, expectations for inflation are higher. China's foreign currency reserves rose in March, but their overall reserves rose more, mostly because they purchased a little more gold, and that took their holdings to just under 2,300 tonnes. The March gold price zoomed higher, bolstering other reserves. This may reverse sharply in April if the gold price keeps tracking down. Away from the economic news, we probably should note that while China's overall population is in decline, not all regions are. The Pearl River Guangdong region in from Hong Kong grew by 740,000 to 127.8 million in 2024, a rise of 0.6%, and births rose by 100,000 to 1.13 million, a rise of 0.8%. If this region was its own country, these demographic changes would be impressive. But it does highlight how fast some other parts of China are shrinking. Overall, the recent Tomb Sweeping Holiday Festival saw 790 million cross-regional trips in China, an increase of 7.1%, a record high for this holiday period. European retail sales rose 2.3% in February in the euro area on a volume basis, quite a bit better than expected, and the best since September 2024. On a wider EU basis, it was up 2%, and still quite a positive shift. German industrial production, however, was down as sharp as 4% in February from the same month a year ago, although to be fair, the year-ago benchmark was unusually high. On a seasonally adjusted basis, the decline was only 1.3%. German export growth is rising, however. In Australia yesterday, their pre-election budget update was released. Their underlying cash deficit for the 12 months ending June 30th will be 28 billion Australian dollars, swelling to 42 billion through June 2026. That's going from 1% of GDP to 1.5% of GDP. The escalation in trade hostilities has created significant economic uncertainty and exacerbates the risk to the economic and fiscal outlook, they say. The US Treasury 10-year yield is now at 4.15% and up 15 basis points from this time yesterday. Risk premiums are jumping. The price of gold will start today at just on $2,966 an ounce, down $71 from yesterday, down 2.3%, and just another commodity. Holders are selling to cover margin calls now. And oil prices have dropped another 50 cents from yesterday at just on $61.50 a barrel in the US, while the international Brent price is now just under $65 a barrel. And the Kiwi dollar is now at 55.5 US cents, down 40 basis points from yesterday. Against the Aussie, we're unchanged at 92.5 Australian cents. Against the euro, we're down 40 basis points at just on 50.7 euro cents. That all means our trade-weighted index starts today at just on 65.5 and down 30 basis points from yesterday. And the Bitcoin price starts today at $78,846 and down 2.8% from yesterday. Volatility over the past 24 hours has been very high at plus or minus 4.1%. You can find links to the articles mentioned today in our show notes, and you can get more news affecting the economy in New Zealand from interest.co.nz. Kia ora, I'm David Chaston, and we'll do this again tomorrow.